Hello, my name is Mordred Viking, and I'd like to welcome you to what is unfortunately the last episode of this series. That is the Let's Play as the Custom Nation of Stormwind. There are a couple of reasons I'm bringing this to a close. Most noticeably is just because things are going wrong since we converted to the new patch. For example, all the new diplomats that we have, the ideas misbehaving, that we don't have the right ideas, and even the ideas themselves are just plain out wrong. You should not be able to get +4 diplomats. I guess that's because it remembered we had a level 4 idea, and it's just changed the ID. That's possible. Anyway, these are all kind of superficial errors. I'm just kind of worried there'll be more stuff under the hood, which we're not seeing right now, but which would ultimately ruin the game. So I'm going to err on the side of caution here and basically call an end to this. It's unfortunate, I know, but I have really big plans for what will be the next series, which I will speak about in a moment. At the end of the previous episode, we were of course at war with Marienburg. We had the fight going where we were defending Sweden. Our armies did competently, but I've always kind of felt that even though Stormwind looks really strong, it's been a bit of a paper tiger, as has Picardy actually, to be fair. Our armies and navies tend to collapse pretty quickly when they get into a fight. We do make a lot of money to kind of make up for that, but, well, maybe it's just the style of play here. But we always felt a lot stronger than they really were, and we did spend quite a long time recovering from various things. For example, the loans. It's not a bad thing, it's just part of this style, using cheap money and then having to pay it back afterwards. So anyway, I think I've actually learnt excuse me, quite a lot from having played this series. Obviously, trade, that's my great love in Europa Universalis is trade. We've exploited that, I think, pretty much to the maximum, and the trade wars were really going to kick off as the colonial nations were getting stronger, and especially as we're kind of making our way over to India. But I've also been meddling with, say, Brandenburg in my multiplayer game, and doing a lot more combat, plus I played several games down in Italy. I played as France, I played as Sweden, but there's lots of different types of gameplay, and I was kind of wanted to put really specialized nations in a game, en masse. So rather than having just one ultra specialized nation, which would tend to dominate, ours hasn't, but it should have been, and probably will within the next 20-25 years, to be honest. That's mostly because the AI generated nations are just so weak, and their idea choices are so strange. Another reason to stop playing this is all the AI ideas are screwed up as well. So I have instead created a huge number of custom nations. I've actually done 22 different custom nations for this new series, each of them kind of specializing in different ways, and they'll be able to interact with each other. And like we have some, like we've broken up France, because that was really good fun actually, breaking up France. The HRE has several large contenders. Spain's broken up into 3. We have an African nation over in Morocco, which should be a fairly strong colonial power. Sweden, we've got a larger Byzantium. The Ottomans a little weaker, but very aggressive. And just to spice things up a little more, I have a whole ton of hordes over here in Eastern Europe and elsewhere, to be fair. And I'm really hoping those hordes, particularly in the early game, will be able to apply a lot of pressure to Europe and to the other areas where they are. And yeah, just change things up. So it could well be that once we hit India or we hit China, it's all going to be hordes. It's quite possible. We'll see when we play. The other thing I have done is I actually started modding a little under the hood. So I'm currently in testing phase. I want to make sure it's all working before I release anything to the public. And I have managed to bring back the Pope. So you will remember in this game, oh no, this game the Pope was working, it was the HRE which wasn't. Well, in this new one the HRE is working. I've confirmed that already. There is definitely an Emperor. There are multiple nations who can really quite practically become Emperor themselves, so there'll be a lot of tension in the HRE, which will be brilliant. The thing which we're missing in that game is there was no Pope, and unfortunately that is a known issue with these random dynamic nations. However, meddling a little under the hood, I have actually made the state of Ulm the Emperor. If I can remember where Ulm is, it's over here somewhere. That's Frankfurt, it's further. Where are you, Ulm? There you are. So Ulm is now the Pope in this new game, which is interesting for two reasons. One, he's not in Italy, so the Italians can actually kind of let their hair down and attack stuff without the Pope always getting in the way here, right in the middle. The second reason is it's right in the middle of HRE. That means the Pope is a member of the HRE, which could change things in interesting ways, I think. So I'm really kind of excited to see how that plays out. Plus, of course, all the custom nations I've built. I'm really excited to see how they play. Now, the big thing with the custom nations is I would like your input into who to play as. So I will make sure that this new video is linked somewhere on this screen so that you can easily get to it. That will be like the introduction to all the different custom nations, and basically I would like your input on who to play as. I think that is all for now. Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to this new series, and I very much hope that you will join me in it. I'll see you then. Goodbye.